Hey guys, we're so happy to be here. I'm Dove.
I'm Nicole.
And we're Twin Flame Revolution. We are conscious mentors. We're energy healers, twin flame mentors, motivational speakers. And we are so thrilled if you are new to our channel. Welcome, welcome, welcome. If you guys are subscribers, yay. We have another exciting video for you guys and we want to talk about. This video has been requested from you guys for a while now. And if you're new and if you're on this path and you're going, what is going on? Let's talk about some fundamentals so we get some clarity. We're going to talk today about the 7 stages of union as Nicole and I have experienced them and how we've also experienced them with our clients. That does not mean that this is the expansive and exhaustive list. If you've experienced little facets or aspects that go past this quick and dirty video, then that is normal. This is going to be to the point and it's going to be talking about some stages to help you create identification. One of the most helpful things that can happen for us and that we see in our work, because we work very deeply with twins and those who are also not twins, is that we want to go to specific identification so that you know, what am I working with? What am I working with circumstantially?
Yep.
And what am I working with internally that I'm not even seeing, right? And so one of the major ways to create some, actual peace and release and understanding is going to be through context. And so for me, stages create some context.
Yep.
Why am I experiencing this? What should I be expecting, right? And it's not to hold to these ideas so steadfast that you can't allow yourself to create a different reality, but it's to have the container. Because when you have the container, you realize, I'm not crazy.
Yeah.
This is normal. This is part of it. And I'm also not helpless.
Yes.
So yeah, let's jump in.
Yeah, let's do it.
So step 1, before you meet.
You know, it's not a coincidence that I'm a Capricorn and she's a Gemini. It's not a coincidence that I was brought up in a Christian family and she was brought up like in an ashram and like all these different spiritual aspects and learning about psychic and, like all these energies and dimensions and your experience. So Dove and I really believe and remember that we have chosen these things because when we come here as twin flames, when we come to incarnate together, to be together in a lifetime, it's very important that the mission's important. All of those things, the places we are going to dip our souls into, like the places that we're going to start to do work to start to help the consciousness shift into love energy. And so it's really important. And there's such a wow, when we met each other and we found out about each other's backgrounds, I was like a little nervous, like, is this going to work? Because I was like, but I learned so much from her and I was grounded by these things. And it was such an interesting balance that started to take place and polar opposites and, feminine and masculine energies, polar opposite energy, the sun and the moon. And so it needs to have that for the polarization to come together.
So your experiences, they're not an accident. They're not a mistake. And so if you're going through all of these things in your life, twins hold challenging templates. You might have been wondering, oh, I have this challenging life experience. I'm dealing with addiction, or I had abuse, or I had difficulty, or I traveled the world. All these aspects of your experiences, or I am such a big, when you come into the meeting stage, you realize there's such a big age difference, right? There's a race difference, there's a religion difference. All of these things are aspects that are designed, so your experience is important.
Yes.
Now, when you come close to the time of meeting, certain people do experience major synchronicities. For instance, before Nicole and I met, I started painting. I knew nothing about twin flames, and I'm an artist as well. And I started painting all these twin flame images, right?
Yeah.
Twin flame images everywhere. Fire and colors and the blue and the orange and the depiction. And I had all of these different activations. And so what do I mean by activations? Before you meet each other, you might start having thoughts, ideas. You might start having little aspects of your gifts getting stronger. You might desire doing work on yourself. You might start thinking or longing for an energy or a person that you maybe haven't met, have dreams about people. Right? And so again, your story is all of this pre-meeting experience. Your story. And then you go into the meeting.
That's
meeting
2.
of each other. That's step 2. Or phase 2. And when we met each other, boom!
I just remembered her. That's it. That's it. It's like this remembrance. Like, I've known you forever. I want to know you forever. I want to be with you forever. I want to hang out with you. I want to hear you again. I know you.
Yes.
Like, just seeing her picture online, I was just like, whoa, who is that? I know her. And it was one of the deepest knowings, and it pulled me. Like it pulled me. And it was interesting at the time, like we were in 2 different states. I had just gotten out of like a year-long rehab program that I was living in, and then I ended up in New Hampshire, and we were speaking online for like, we didn't even talk over the phone yet. We were just messaging each other for like a year and a half, almost 2 years of this communion, this friendship, this romance, this, it just, you could feel the energies kind of playing with each other, and we hadn't seen each other, so there wasn't that spark yet, but there was that knowing and that, just dancing.
And I remember Nicole saying, I just want to hug you. I just want to cuddle with you, right? And you have this remembrance of the person that's so deep, and you have this love for them, but because the twin flame connection is not just this romantic connection, it's more complicated.
Yes.
So it feels like family. It feels like friend. It feels like self. It feels like safety. It feels like the connection to God. It feels like the connection to source. And if some of you guys are new, so somebody must have asked a question out there, because we're also both psychics. I heard, who are you to each other, all this stuff. So Nicole and I have been together for 10 years.
Yes.
Right? We've been in active union for 10 years, and we were friends 2 years before that. And we have also been married for 7 years. And so we have really lived and breathed this, and also lived and breathed this with thousands of our clients and people that we have touched and helped, twins and not twins. And so we had this recognition, this piece, the meeting. And the meeting moves into this really deep dive into love, which is stage 3, right?
Yep.
When you come into the actual physical connection, right? Not just the activation. And when you come into that meeting, what also starts to happen, right? Stage 2 is, whoa, activation, 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 activation. Why all of a sudden am I feeling gifts? And that happens also in 3 and in 4. This continuous all the way through the stages, this continuous expansion of your gifts, of yourself. So if you're going to feel, you start feeling intuition. You start to maybe become psychic. You maybe become more driven to serve.
Yep.
You become connected to other people. You feel more compassion. You feel more willingness to do the work on yourself, right? You start to feel all these different things. But the 3rd phase, we came together, and it was this unbelievable love energy and this physical attraction.
Yeah, and we were trying to express that in every which way possible. It was like, I felt like I was gonna have a heart attack at times if I didn't tell her that I loved her. Like, it was such I needed to share that love, and it started to come out in different ways, sexually, friendship-wise, just being around each other, the communion with one another, the conversations, the all-night conversations, being able to just, like, even off the top, like even in the beginning, we were like reading each other's minds. We were being able to like finish each other's sentences, and it felt like home. It was like, I'm back home. That frequency, it felt the same. It was like I never hid anything from her. I wasn't afraid of being Nicole in front of her. I really just let her see like all of me, which will then, the next phase is where everything just blows up in your face.
So what happens when you come into connection, right, with this being who's essentially being reflected just like a mirror? They're just reflecting you back, right? And all of a sudden, you start becoming naked. And it's no longer the fun, like we've been rolling around in bed naked, but oh my God, you see all my shadow. Oh my God, you bring up all my wounds. Oh my God, I love you so much, but I didn't resolve that issue from when I was 12 years old, or I was abandoned when I was little. Oh my gosh, and what happens is you start to reflect each other to each other so strongly. And there's such an intensity in the love. Right?
Yes.
Such a deep intensity. And what are most of us doing most of the time? Running away from ourselves, right? What do? We try to become busy with something else. We try to stuff our feelings or distract ourselves with different things. We have a very hard time being really present with ourselves. So then the cycle of the runner-chaser begins. And if you guys want to go back, we have a video too where we talk about runner-chaser, you both do it. Why do we say that? Because you both do it to an extent. So what happens? All of a sudden, it gets intense. All of a sudden, you feel all this stuff. All of a sudden, you get scared. And all your wounds and all your traumas and all your things start popping up. And one energy wants to physically haul ass out the door.
Or or you shut down and you literally like shut your partner out, which feels just as bad as if you were to run out the door. And it's really frustrating when we ignore each other. And so we just completely have this dance because, you know, we were talking about, you know, this massive breakdown in phase 4, right? The breakdown happens because like you're not wanting to face all of you know, you have all this stuff and all the things that are going to keep this polarization from happening, because this is the natural state of twin flames, is this. All the stuff that keeps you from this is going to show itself, right? So then if we don't face it, we end up in separation. It doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to be long. Sometimes it is long, but we'll go into a separation place because we're not ready. You want love. You're like, I want a partner. And then they're in front of you. And I have seen it over and over again, whether it's a man or a woman, it doesn't matter. They're just like, I'm not ready. Yes. I'm not ready for this. This is intense. Like, I had to call the cops last night. Like, the cops were at my house. Like, we're insane. This is toxic. All of these things, because there's things within you that are coming out. And it does look like a toxic mess, because those issues need to be dealt with and need to be healed so that the polarization can happen between you two.
And this is a big subject, right? Understanding the twin flame connection is deep. We even have a webinar about this particular subject on our website. We go into courses about this. We create support because it isn't all that simple, but it brings us to this amazing place to do this work. So the running and the chasing, right? But the running in yourself. So if you're looking and you're going, well, they ran out the door, they're the one running. Maybe you are running too, and probably you are running too.
You are. You're in some sort of way, you are blocking this. So I just want to say, if it's 100, 150, 50, however you want to look at it, it's never just all them.
Yes.
Right? Like, I've heard so many stories about, like, you know, they ran, they left, and then I'm like, well, what did you do? And it's like, well, I set the house on fire and I chased them with a knife. No, that's not really what happens, but something like crazy, and you're just like, do you maybe think that there was a part of what you just did that maybe caused some of that, right? And maybe you didn't totally cause it, right? I'm just saying that you have to look at both sides. You have to look at both sides.
And that's where you get to make the shift, is when you start becoming responsible and looking at both sides, because you are in total control of your side and what you do. And there is so much that can happen. So we go from that into reunion, where you get this opportunity. You have done enough of the work, right? The work. When Nicole and I talk about it, we do our work one way. We work with our clients one way. There's many ways to do the work. The work is the fundamental healing and resolving of our stuff, looking at our stuff.
I remember when Dove and I separated, and we were separated for over 9 months. And, you know, it was during that time when all of a sudden, like, the information, so Dove and I didn't know anything about twin flames before that, right? Yes. So it wasn't like I was chasing it. I wasn't trying to look for it. I had no idea. When I found out about it and I started reading about it and I started studying, it became apparent when Dove was talking about, like, when we have truth and we have information that goes, oh, it puts it all together for you to go, oh my God, that's what I'm going through right now. This is what's happening to me. And then I got to, like, really start to pray about it and to be with that, and then to start to understand how important our relationship in union is for this planet, and how we really came here to do that. And reunion's about really acceptance of that. And I'm telling you, it's not easy. Some people pack their bags off and on. I really get that. But having that acceptance brings in safety, and bringing in safety allows for a lot of things to happen within the relationship, so that you guys can move and expand and express yourselves, however that is, in this world.
Yeah. And that reunion stage is a very fragile, very important stage. The work doesn't stop there. The work kicks up there. Right? You are then both responsible now, both aware that you are responsible for not abandoning self or each other, both responsible for doing the work that needs to be done, because anything that is a wound that creates separation and space between you and yourself, you and source or creator, God, whatever you're comfortable with, is creating space between you and your partner.
Yes.
Anything that is not transparent, anything that is not honest, anything that is not said, anything that you are projecting in your mind towards them, anything that you are not dealing with from your childhood, all those things create separation. And together you come not just as partners, right? But as people who are actively working for expansion, that you wanted to come here as a twin to experience growth and expansion, and that you're serving this planet by coming to this close state of unconditional love. And that unconditional love, it comes through the experience of conditions. How do we learn to be unconditional? through condition.
Yes.
That's why your stories, why your life, why your relationship feels very conditional at times, because you're learning what it feels like to give unconditional to self and to each other. Because in that, you raise the vibration for this planet and for this field for us to experience unconditional.
So 7, the work.
The
work, purpose, and mission, right? So I remember when I was like, I knew I wanted to serve, and that's enough. I knew I wanted to give. I knew that my experience in life, I really understood that all the hardship that I had gone through was going to be like a superpower. I really got that. Like, it made sense to me that there was a reason why I went through so much. And I was like, even when I wasn't through it yet, I knew, wow, if I could get through it, if I could actually heal myself, well, anyone could do that. And so it became this thing. And then when Dove and I got together, and Dove was like a lawyer, and I had my Gucci business in Midtown in New York, and all of a sudden, like, that calling like came from out of when we got back together. It was like, boom, boom, boom. Like, all of a sudden, our gifts even expanded to an extent where I was like, whoa. And I started to study a little bit more deeply what was happening to me. And then the next thing you know is like, wow, our union, like, together, like, what we just went through, and being able to really talk about that and expand on that. That's all we knew is going to help people.
Yes.
And so for many of you, there's something in us. There's something in there that's like, I want to serve. I want to help. Like, almost like I have to, because it's love. Love is like that. Love is so kind. Love is gentle. Love is compassion. Love takes conditions and just transmutes them. Yes. Love is everything. And we are the highest version of love, which is unconditional Christ, conscious love. We are that. We are that essence. We are here to do that. And so this is the place where anything that's not, not aligned with that love, we're starting to look at on a daily basis. Dove and I, like, we do it on behalf of ourselves, but sometimes, like, I'll have to ask because I'm going through, like, all these feelings, and I'm like, is it the collective? And then it's the collective, and then I feel like a little bit calmer, and then I'm like, all right, I need to transmute this for the collective. So, like, you guys are doing that. You're not just healing you're healing for your families, from past generations to future generations. Because time doesn't exist. You're doing it on behalf. If you look outside, even though I know there's a lot of things going on in the world today where you're like, what is happening? That stuff's been happening this whole time, right? You're just seeing more of it now. But there's also people that are really waking up and are conscious, and you guys are conscious of what's happening, and you're shifting this consciousness of people like, oh, wow, energy, wow, spirit, wow, higher self. I mean, it could be that simple, but people are getting that. And they're getting that there's something more than just getting up in the morning and being cattle, walking to work every day, that there's more about connecting with one another, to love one another, to be there with one another, to express that love with one another, which changes everything.
Yeah, and when you're thinking about mission and purpose, your being is also your mission and purpose. So when you do that work for yourself, and you are in that reunion, and you are connecting, and you are doing that healing work, and you are releasing that stuff that doesn't align with love, you are also absolutely 100% serving and being in that mission. You can be in mission even if you don't express the way Nicole and I do, by being the manifestation of that love and that compassion and that alignment. Together, you are like a sonic boom of energy, and even if you're still in that separation, you can be a sonic boom of that energy. There is work to be done, no matter where you are in this process, right? And so if you're in separation, don't use that as a time that not to do the work, because it's a very, very powerful time.
It's very important to do the work then. It's very important to prepare yourself, right? We want, I remember in my life, I was like, I want this, I want that, but I just didn't do the work, and nothing changed, right? I wasn't willing. And if you're not willing, that's okay. I told people just now during my life, I was like, just ask for the willingness. When we ask for the things that we can't do or don't have, the universe shows up in those spaces that we just can't figure out how to do. So it's about asking for help in those areas.
100%. So we hope that this has been helpful for you guys. We are going to put out more. If you are new, welcome. Please subscribe to our channel. You can also use the link below to find us on Facebook and stay connected with us there.
We love you so much.
We love all of you guys, and we'll see you guys soon.
Light and love. Bye.